Well, hello everybody. Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful tasting. Hopefully everyone received their case of wine, which is a funny little case. It's very light to take home, actually. It comes through your letterbox, obviously. And when you open it, it should have three little packs like this. I only have two because the third one I already opened. And this is our perfect tasting box, which includes three different wines, which are quite premium, I would say, quite interesting wines. And it's going to be a monthly case with a virtual wine tasting with Christopher Delalonde, Master Sommelier, who is already on the call, who is going to explain the wines. But the main idea behind it is that you can order this. It's going to be always a little bit different, but around 20 to 25 pounds per pack. You get three exciting, nice, top quality wines from Perfect Cellar. All these wines are available in bottles as well, and then you can just crack them open, start pouring at your leisure. You get 100 ml, which is about that much, a little bit more because I already drank a little bit of it, to be honest. But yeah, so that it's a really fun way of getting to know the tasting, getting to know the wines, and start ordering them. Hopefully, after that, once you like them, or just keep ordering these ones and having fun once a month, or even twice a month if you like, because you can order all the time. Anyway, welcome, Chris, and shall we crack on with the first
No,
one?
very. On sort of elaborating around those packaging and so level wise, it's about it's 100 mils, so it's quite generous. It's your average. In restaurants, usually wines by the glass will be between 125 and 175 because that's the low. So quite large as such on 175. However, I think to exactly get a feel for the wine, a taste of the wine, and on an economic side, so it's a balance average of about £7-8 a glass. That's what you get in a Michelin star restaurant or good quality wine-oriented place. And it's a bit like exactly like the wine by the glass. So before going for the full bottle, you get a taste of what it's like, and hopefully the range will develop quite fast and quite broad within months to come as the traction comes clear of why and how we do it. And therefore, you can exactly get an idea of what this wine is, what it tastes like, and what or when you can drink it, because it will give you also a sort of drinking window due to the quality of cellaring and the quality of lock that we present. And then you got my lovely voice and my lovely tasting going with it. That's obviously super sarcastic. And finally, really what I like about it, on the top of everything else I just mentioned, is that you could actually play with your friends as they don't know what is this. And then you could do blind tasting and so on and so forth. So that's an interesting, or even blind them, test them and say, look, I know you like Sancerre or blah blah blah. Test this, and from those guys you can get that at that price, and it's good for everybody. So I stopped talking about marketing. It's not my forte, as you can realize. It's more that stuff that is interesting to me. So it's written on the back of the box. But more importantly for me, because obviously I'm important, I have the full bottle. So that's what it looks like. So it's a Sancerre, domaine L'Auvergnat, Kevin and Karine. So it's the latest generation. They are in Sancerre. It's about 40 hectares, so quite a large holding in the area. Moulin de Vrière. I think they are the 5th generation. I think it's the 5th or the 6th of L'Auvergnat. There is 3 families of L'Auvergnat, so you always get a bit lost in those family crossing as such. As you know, Sancerre comes in 3 different colors. You get it on white, red, or even rosé. So the white is made of Sauvignon Blanc, like Pouilly Fumé. The red is Pinot Noir. And the rosé is Pinot Noir, obviously, of Senier. But we're not going to go into much of his details. 12.5 alcohol. So, despite global warming kept under control, and 2021 vintage, which was a very good vintage in terms of quality. Unfortunately, a very low vintage when it comes to production. We all remember what happened in 2021, but more importantly, Mother Nature was also quite sadistic with really late frost and therefore big depletion on the production. I think if I remember well, what came across information-wise, 2021 was the smallest harvest in France since 1945. So it's just to give you an idea of unfortunately, the loss of fruit, the loss of pleasure for us, but also the scarcity that leads after such a vintage depletion as such. So come back to the wine. As you can see, it's yellow, it's bright. It's definitely fresh. I mean, it's the 2021 wine, so you really have the freshness. You can see a little bit of the kind of green hue to it. So that's the youth talking to you. On the nose, so it's very classic. So Sauvignon Blanc sort of footprint when it comes to character, flavor profile is very the green character. So you got the sort of cut grass, you got the gooseberry, you got the pepper, you got the jalapeno, you got sort of a floral touch, a bit of acacia maybe, and it can be quite exuberant. Obviously, you have the New World Sauvignon Blanc. We're not going to go in that direction, which is even more exuberant due to some of the things, especially the screw cap and also the clone, the type of vine of wood that is planted in Marlborough mainly. But also Sancerre originality as such is soil. So you got three different types of soil. One that is more argillous, making bigger ones a bit bigger. One is a bit more stony that helps with drainage, and one that is actually super stony called flint or silex, that brings that really salty, almost zingy, salty, almost breathe, like sea breathe character that makes the wine super accessible and actually moorish. Sauvignon Blanc also is always a quite acidic grape variety, even though acidity is common in wines white and red as well. But for Sauvignon Blanc, that's what we're looking for, is that freshness, that zing, that drive on the palate that really makes you salivate and therefore, calls for another glass, as well as cut through different texture and flavor profiles, such as, we'll talk about that when we come to it. But so on the nose, you really have that kind of green character. You got a little bit as well of nettle at detect. You got a bit of bell pepper, that sort of capsicum, as they call it in Australia. Definitely grassy. There's also lemony. There's maybe a lemon curd. Again, quite enticing. My wine, the one I'm testing, it's not too cold. I got it out of the fridge quite early because I do not like white too cold and I do not like red too warm. So I know I'm a bit of a pain, but don't worry. If you haven't yet heard me talking about temperature in wine, you will hear me because that's one of the crucial parts that will actually elevate your tasting potentially. So the nose and then the palate. So the palate, the first thing that you get is what we call the attack. So it's how the wine basically delivers straight away on your tongue and on your gums. And there what you get is that bright fruit, that's ripe fruit as well, that beautifully citrus character and that fantastic drive of acidity, that lift straight away, that makes you salivate. I even struggle to talk as this acidity really kind of embraces and kind of drive the wine forward, and again makes it super moorish. At this stage you're like, oh wow, I want to taste another one. So again, the flavor profile, is the green fruit, maybe a bit of green apple, definitely the lemony character, maybe the zest as well. Definitely the grass, a bit of gooseberry. Definitely, I get some jalapeno again. That winery doesn't use oak, whatsoever in the making. So you don't have any footprint of that. It's all about ripe fruits, fresh fruits, crisp fruits, and that beautiful acidity, as I said, that really kind of just make the wines, fresh and lively. With potential of aging, we all see some say, okay, the latest vintage is the best. Well, you can definitely sit on those wines for a few years without worry, because of that ripe fruit, because of that freshness, but also more importantly because of the acidity. Long finish on primary fruit. Again, the temperature is very crucial. 10 to 12, perfect temperature. Even if you play it around 12 to 13, you're not going to harden your wine even better. If you know that you're going to drink it, don't hesitate to open it, an hour before. You're not going to have the wine either, and actually elevate again, give it a chance to breathe a little bit. Decanting for that type of wine, I wouldn't need to do so. I don't think it will bring anything. And when it comes to food and wine pairing, so for example, salmon or oily fish in general will work wonders. At the moment, asparagus are everywhere on the menus in the supermarket. Just go for it. That will work fantastic with asparagus, and anything that is kind of springy in terms of flavor profile. If it's beautiful day and you're having a barbecue already over the weekend with the friends, don't hesitate to get that out, because it will be one of those no-brainer. Everybody will enjoy a glass of that, or two or three, or too many anyway, because it's just one of those classic example of what Sancerre is all about: drive, freshness, deliciousness, approachability. Cheers.
Yes, I think it's a very well made example of Sancerre. Generally, I really like that sort of. I often struggle with the New World versions of Sauvignon Blanc because of a little bit too much of that sort of grassy gooseberry sort of aromatic touch to it, but I think Sancerre is a little bit more
pea shoots. It can be quite exuberant. It quite on your face, a bit OTT over the top.
But I think this wine itself is quite an elegant wine, and still very easy drinking wine. You get a bit of complexity, but it's not. You don't have to overthink the wine. It will.
It's a definitely
for itself.
It's a no-brainer, despite a certain complexity, and definitely well-made, well-tailored, well knitted together. You got all the element there: the acidity, the ripe fruits, the fresh fruits, sort of combination of put together with a bit of bitterness. There's no oak whatsoever to elongate the wine, to really add some complexity, and more importantly, that drinkability. As I said, you have a glass, you will have a second glass. That you eat or you don't eat. Aperitif, it's definitely the perfect aperitif wine, without food or with food. You really can play with something like that. So yeah.
And also, when you receive your box, you will receive one of these leaflets in there where you can see the actual wine. So if you go on our website, you will have on the back of this, you will have the wine's short description with a QR code. So all you have to do is scan them. It takes you to the page. But when you want to have a confirmation that this is the wine, you see the picture of it as well. And I think it's a very easy way to navigate yourself on the website. QR code on the back as well, just to make sure. One thing which we didn't do, and we will be doing, for us wine people, obviously, we like to forget about the customers from time to time. It's not a nice thing to do, but for us, it comes natural that we put it into the fridge beforehand. But obviously it makes sense to put it on the box as well. So on the next box you receive, you will have a nice little round sticker as well saying keep me refrigerated, or put me into the fridge, or something like this, just to make sure. But as Chris said, temperature is very important, and I think you have to. I have a rule. I don't know if Chris, you agree with me or not. I have the 20-20 rule, which is White wine is already in the fridge. 20 minutes before I drink it, I take it out. And if I have red as well, I can put the red in for 20 minutes. So before drinking white, I take it out 20 minutes early. And then if I drink a red, I'll put it in for 20 minutes just to bring it down a little bit. And I think it's works quite well.
I think it does really make sense, as that will definitely change dramatically the flavor profile that you will get. We tend to drink white wine far too cold, and we tend to drink red wine far too hot, and that's really it's really sad, to be honest with you, because you're missing something.
Yes.
The white wine coolness will hide some of the flavor, and the red wine heat as such, at which you will be drunk, will elevate the alcohol feeling without actually divulging the freshness and the sort of berry character or the crispness that you can get from the fantastic fruit that are hidden in that bottle of wine, especially when, again, it's something like, oh, by accident we got made Cummings or whatever, let's open this, and then it was under the bed or whatever. You straight away decant it if possible, bring nice glasses. You got everything there that is right, but the one is just too hot. And then you're like, oh, actually, I can't really drink that. And whereas you shave 2 or 3 degrees Celsius, and you realize that, wow, actually there's a brightness to it. The good thing with cooler red wine is that naturally they will warm up in your glass. Whereas if you start hot, well, they're not going to go lower, that's for sure. So I always think that, what you normally think, put the opposite: red in the fridge and white outside.
Yes. Which wine would you like to carry on with? Because they are quite different, but at the same time, they both quite premium as such. And so
we remain in classic region of France, which it's not, it's very easy to talk about both wines. We'll do one after the other. I was almost thinking, well, we could do both in the same time, because then you got parallel of really 2 different grape varieties. But I think it's a bit, might not be the purpose of this exercise. So I'll stick to the order on which the pepper comes. So we'll go for Northern Rhone. We'll go for the Syrah Saint-Joseph Domaine de Boisset, 2017. So
this is a perfect opportunity for me to introduce how to pour red wine in a white shirt. There we go. So you open it like this. You just hold it tight, rip it off, opens up. You have the little bag inside. Then you have a scissor, which you try not to pour. Try to use it in a way that it doesn't go everywhere. And especially not on the computer or on your white shirt. I'm really doing this like an unprofessional professional who wears white shirt for a wine tasting. And then you pour it into the glass. There we go. Nice and easy. And with that,
nice and easy. I agree. I've just done mine too, and it's rather not complicated whatsoever. What I like about it is that obviously the bags are completely sealed, and the ones that we're presenting are ones that have been with us at Perfect Cellar for already a few years, either from that vintage or from a previous vintage. So I know the estate, so I know the wines quite well, and I have to admit that there is absolutely no derivation whatsoever from what you get in the bottle to what you get within those bags. So it's a great way to explore and test things that there is. It's really relevant, and it's really in association with what eventually you will have in your cellar, waiting to be opened and drunk. So Saint-Joseph. So Saint-Joseph is a very interesting area of the Northern Rhone. So you basically between Vienne, nothing to do with Vienna, but Vienne in the northern. So about an hour about an hour drive from Lyon airport. That's what it takes roughly when you go to the Rhone. Obviously, that depends who's driving and what condition are there, what time it is, because you just get the motorway. But it's about that. It's about an hour drive, so not far at all. In the south of Lyon. And then you get obviously to the first slope. So you reach Côte-Rôtie, and then you got Condrieu. And that's basically everything. All those vineyards are on the right-hand side. So basically you follow the river down. So they're all on the right bank as such. But Hermitage and Gros Hermitage, that are on the other side of the bank. So as I said, Côte-Rôtie, then you got Condrieu, then you got small appellation, Château-Griet. And then as you go down, you will reach Cornas eventually. But basically, there's a lot of different patches there. Saint-Joseph is actually, it's large. It's about 700 hectares, but it's very patchy. It's not all together as you have Hermitage, for example. The mountain of Hermitage is 135 hectares in one go. And that's it. That's all there is. Côte-Rôtie is 3 different villages that produces it, that are kind of adjacent to each other. But again, it's quite patchy. But Saint-Joseph is really patchy. So Saint-Joseph, you find some amazing Saint-Joseph. Again, you find white and red. There's no rosé of Saint-Joseph whatsoever. But it really depends on the type of soil and the grower. It's Saint-Joseph, it's about knowledge. Who do you like? Why do you like him or her? And some of the sites that they are using, because as I said, it's by having this plethora of different sites, you obviously have a plethora of different soil, which obviously will give you a plethora of different type of wines, from sort of powerful, rich, concentrated to sort of light, food-driven, maybe a bit more approachable on their use, and so on and so forth. Obviously, the grower will also dictate how much oak he uses or she uses, and so on and so forth. So the Boisset family are actually they are located in a village called Chavanais, which is actually one of the heartland of Condrieu, so quite up north. They have a wide range of different wines. We don't buy everything from them in terms of everything they produce. But the Saint-Joseph is a really good example. So les Garipelés, quite difficult to say even for a Frenchman, is actually a single site from a single terroir. So you know exactly where the wines, the fruit are coming from. What here is exciting on 2 aspects is it's also a wine that is 6 years old. So you're not drinking, the fresh, the latest release. You're something that has with time to sort of settle down, come to fruition, I would say, and have a development to it. So we're gonna go through the wine. Given the color that is in my glass, you see it's very deep still. So despite being only 6 years old, there is a little bit of rim variation if you look around here, but it's still very purple. So the youth still much defined and defining this wine as such. And again, the core, when you really look through, you can't really see your finger underneath it. If you go like this, you can't really see your finger. So it's definitely deep, which means that the grape variety used, as you know, is Syrah. You can have white as well, Marsanne and Roussanne, for the production of Saint-Joseph Blanc, white, I'm sorry. But 100% Syrah for the reds whatsoever. Syrah is an amazing grape variety. Don't get me started because I could talk about Syrah forever. But it's a grape variety that is very exciting because it loves oak. Syrah needs oak as it's aging. Either new or old, but it needs that basically oxido reduction. That's exposure to air, because it's quite a reductive grape variety in general as a winemaker. I made wine in that area actually a few years ago. And it's fascinating how the phases of winemaking and how sometimes it goes in, you're thinking nowhere I will be able to recuperate that wine to fully fruity, driven, and delicious. And you don't really know what happened. It turns around and it gets that brightness. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyway, the Boisset it's a big company. They know what they're doing. They've been there for like 300 years. They they're definitely Northern Rhone, and they understand this part of the world and what it is all about, which is basically drinkability, precision, elegance, and eloquence as such. So dark color, what do we get on the nose? Well, we get dark fruit. You get the bramble, you get, even though bramble in essence is red fruit, but you get the blackberries, you get some plums, you get a bit of chocolate already. I get some cherries, actually, ripe cherries. And something that you find typically in Sierra, to me, you get black olive. You get that crushed black olive, the tapenade, the thing that they eat in the south of France. This is classical expression of Sierra. There's a bit of bacon, a bit of savoriness already developing in the nose, which makes it very, very attractive. And even though I know this wine has been in oak, there's no traces of oak. There's no vanilla, there's no cinnamon, there's maybe a pretty touch of cloves, which again add to the complexity on the nose, and also that sort of enticeness, if that's a good word. It's the words that you can use, It
has a bit of just a little bit of sweetness to it, which makes it quite
a ripe. For me, was the sort of chocolate aspect that I got. Yeah, I agree. So again, 17 was generous, was also a hot vintage. I know it's only 6 years ago, but that's really when things started to change dramatically, especially in the rain pattern. So it started to rain much less. And then 17 was that vintage where it wasn't yet critical, but you started to get that sort of resiny character coming through because the fruit didn't get the entire water it might have needed. So it probably got a bit shriveled and more concentrated, which is a good thing for wine. But if you don't balance it out properly, you might get exactly an extra dimension of sugar, which will show in the wine because of the alcohol content, or sometimes a little bit of residual sugar, and nobody wants residual sugar in their red wine. So to talk about that, it's 13.5 alcohol. So again, very well balanced, not too much. Nowadays 13.5 is very much the norm anywhere you go, and actually on the lower scale. Nowadays red 14.5 is much more the norm, unfortunately, due to general global warming. So on the palate, it's generous, to say the least. It's ample, it's vivid, it's vibrant, but you really have a lot to decipher about. You get a lot of the black fruit, you get the ripeness of the black fruit, you get the red fruit character, you get the stone fruit like the plums and the cherries. There's a lot of spices coming through. There's definitely some black pepper, definitely a touch of cloves. Maybe here I get a bit more oak, such a bit of vanilla and cinnamon, definitely. There's a lot of fruits. It's quite complex. It's very well knitted together. Again, despite the 6 years of age, you could imagine that you could sit on that for a couple more years without a doubt. So if you like that style of wine after everything I said, and you buy some, and you will hopefully open it early. Do not hesitate to give it some time to either breathe or even decant it and use large glasses. As to give you the chance to really, really deliver, open it completely, and have the ability to shine as such. Unfortunately, in restaurant business, very often, you get to the table, sommelier comes to you, you order, and your wine is brought and open and straight away, and you're drinking during the dinner. You're thinking it's a delicious wine, and you come to the last glass, and you're thinking it's even better now. But yeah. Even though you gave it the time maybe to decant and so on and so forth, nice glasses, wine is like everything, and it's time, and the oxygen is always on your side as long as you control it. Obviously, if you give it 24 hours oxidation, it's like everything. You're gonna destroy the wine, but a couple of hours will not. damage anything like this. So, quite a complex, intense palate. Again, beautiful acidity that makes you salivate, that really kind of entice you to again go for a second glass of wine. And given that structure, beautiful tannin structure, it's very soft. They're there. Don't get me wrong. They are definitely there. They really kind of compact the palate and sort of touch it up a little bit. Again, showing me that the wine needs a bit of time in terms of breathing or even cellaring. But that will completely be scrabbled off or eradicated as soon as you put some proteins on the plate. So you could play again, barbecue time, you imagine some nice sausage or whatever from the barbecue with that charcoal flavor, and that's concentrated chocolatey, spicy, red fruit, black fruit character. That will be a match made in the oven. Or if you decide, oh, I'm not really drinking Syrah during the summer, it's too much, and I want to wait for later, the game time is perfect. Venison, you imagine with this would be something from a dream as such. Obviously, beef and lamb to a certain extent, but you can really push the flavor profile, even to a certain extent with Asian flavors, Indian flavors, curry. Because of that spiciness, a bit of spiciness, Syrah will hold it without trouble, without pain, and that will sort of balance the act on your palate. So don't hesitate to play with a bit of spices or other. The one will like it. The one will enjoy the challenge, and I'm sure your palate will do so too. So cheers.
Yes, and one thing I just realized, and then while we were drinking the first couple of wines, what I realized is if I wouldn't know that it's in this box, it tastes really nice in the glass. I mean, what I'm trying to say is just because it doesn't come in a glass bottle, it didn't change the flavor profile at all, I think. And I think it's amazing technology, it's amazing innovation that we can actually deliver 100 ml or actually 3 times 100 ml through your letterbox, and it still tastes exactly like a fine wine which comes from a bottle. I think it's quite amazing, to be honest. I was always a little bit curious
to elaborate on that. From the comfort of your sofa, you're moving from this, which can be quite tricky to handle unless you go for screw cap, to this. Yes, you need tools, but the point is that it's less glamorous. Let's use the word. It's less glamorous,
but more fun.
This compared to this, but I think it serves a purpose, and the quality angle to the wine is not overwritten whatsoever. You really have a more than very decent glass of wine that is as close as having to imagine. You open that bottle of wine, and you're like, oh, that's delicious, but you know what? It's Tuesday night. I just want a glass. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, will it be good tomorrow? The answer, yes, it will be good tomorrow, as long as you put back the cork, put it in the fridge, obviously, for the reason that the cool will protect from oxidation. But more importantly, you never test it. You don't know what you're playing with as such. And then you're like, oh, I love it, but that's more. I need food. It's not just an aperitif wine. It's not just something it's too powerful for me to eat to drink on its own as such. Whereas with this, whatever happens, you have no risk as such. And then you realize, okay, I love that wine, and I know what it stands for, what it will be like, hopefully via the videos we're doing now as well as, and therefore it's saving. At the end, the economics of it is also very the technology really have the economics of drinking wine, that and we know what to expect and when, therefore to play with. So I mean, I shut up now, but no, I think it's a really great move from Perfect Cellar to sort of bring that idea forward, as to develop to develop a way to discover wine without having to waste it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And with that said, I think I'm just going to move on to the last of the three wines.
And definitely not the least, if I may say.
Yeah, there we go. And then we are in Saint-Emilion, in Grand Cru territory now, and pouring the wine into the glass without any problem. Even my completely white shirt survived, which is very helpful when I have to face the wife after this tasting.
Well, I have had a bit of an accident, actually.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
I knew that would happen, because if there is something that has to happen to someone, it's always me.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm a bit covered with wine. My shirt has been soaked. My suit is fortunately dark, though, so it's not going to show. My white table is covered in wine, so it's actually quite fun. But I know why. I have actually cut the little bag a bit too short.
There we go.
So yeah, it's a sort of, yeah, don't hesitate to actually cut a bit further up.
So this is the educational video of how not to open our boxes. But the main thing, Chris, is don't pour it on your laptop, because that's gonna ruin the whole.
I have 35 years of experience, and yeah, I'm used to this rather than a little bag. I'm sorry, I do apologize. I'm a bit old-fashioned. Let's call it that way. Without going too much in details. So yes, Saint-Emilion. But what here is again an attractive point is 2019 vintage, and it will sound definitely young, and it is definitely a young wine for that on the scale of things. But 19 is one of those vintage that will live forever, if I may say. A fantastic. So what is a fantastic vintage? It's basically everything comes together. I know in Bordeaux every year, is the year, this is the wine, is the vintage, the century, blah blah blah, which very often, unfortunately or fortunately, is actually almost true. But the reality is, vintage like 19, you've got, vintage that started very late, that was very difficult. Some people had to make some draconian choices, but eventually the summer changed, the summer got warmer, everything started to ripen properly, and then Indian summer set in, and therefore everything ripened, properly, not too much, not too little, and the fruit harvested was of really, really high quality, and then the rest follows up. As a good winemaker, when you got, it's like a chef, it's like everything. If you got really good raw material, you're supposed to produce something of staggering quality. It's much more harder to make a lovely sauce if your ingredients are a bit faded, if you see what I mean. So just to elaborate on that, so that's 13.5 alcohol. So the same than the Saint Joseph, despite the vintage. So again, I expect quite a lot of complexity, intensity, and a bit of power as such. So digging into it straight away. So color-wise, again, a very nice garnet color, quite deep. Definitely deep. If I put my finger under my glass and I look around on the top, I can't see it. So it's definitely deep, which again will give you an idea of the sun aspect, the solar vintage characteristic. So here we are in Saint-Emilion. So Saint-Emilion being the right bank of the Gironde. Merlot thrive and dominates usually the blend. You will always have a bit of Cabernet Franc, and always have a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon as well in the blend. But at this level, it's probably about 80%, 85% of Merlot. Merlot is an amazing grape variety. Some people love it, some people hate it, because it can be quite simple to a certain extent. It's bright, it's red fruit, it's gentle, nice acidity, and basically that's it. And that, yeah, it can be quite boring, if I may use that word. But as soon as you get, a little bit more, obviously the blending with, or the marriage, I should say, with the Cabernet Sauvignon, the Cabernet Franc kind of structure and taciturness and so on, you elevate that sort of complexity. It's also a very early grape variety ripening. So in a vintage like 19, when everything goes super fast, the fact that to pick at the right time to maintain that freshness and that fruit character is also you have to be a technician. You have to be a winemaker that has his finger on the pulse, if you see what I mean. You need to be on the top of your game, and I think that's where they're doing in that small estate. Smaller, it's 5 hectares, so it's really small. It's like a garden. So dark color. So we expect some concentration on the fruit. So a bit of air. Let's see. And here we go. Yeah, you definitely. This is red fruit. This is a little bit of berries. Definitely some cherries. Definitely some blue plums. Definitely some spices. There's a savouriness character to it. There's almost like a cheese grind to me as well, which I find fascinating. A bit of cellaring. You smell a little bit that sort of cellar, that sort of dusty, not dusty, wet earth character. The underbrush, the sort of foresty character. That wasn't me. That's the dog, by the way. I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, it's quite.
It wasn't too bad.
And yeah, quite an enticing nose. Not the most complex, definitely, but not at all overpowering. Because of that sort of vintage quality, you're thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to be big, it's going to be brutal, it's going to be intense, maybe even too young. And everything I've got so far on that nose is telling me, Chris, drink me. So we're going to test it.
So much power, elegance.
Generous, definitely. A lot of food there. Good eloquence. Very good texture. Very layered. And sort of precise. It's almost coming like a musical arrangement. You got the fruit, then you got the bitterness, then you got the spices, then you got a touch of the alcohol, then you got the oak, then you got the tannin structure, then you got the acidity, then you got the bitterness at the end to elongate basically the finish, and then you get the fruit and the spices coming back. It's sort of music notes. There is a simplicity to it. There is a sort of approachability, deliciousness to it, without giving a wine of the most complex stature, but it's not made in that direction. It's not the plan. The plan is that it's a sort of wine you're thinking, I want a glass of wine that I will enjoy now, even though it's a young wine that could also sit in your cellar for a few years without a doubt, but it will give you so much pleasure instantly. So if we sort of come back to the Saint Joseph we drank before, we tasted before. The Saint Joseph is definitely wine that you want to think about the timing at which you're gonna open it and drink it with whom and how. That Saint-Emilion is almost the opposite. It's a sort of, but I mean, no-brainer. You're thinking, we got friends, I want a glass of wine with you, my darling. Let's open this. And you will probably polish the bottle because it's really, really approachable. It's very generous without being, over the top. It's delicious. As soon as you open it, it's already giving. It's generous. It's opened. And very, very attractive, beautiful food, bit of spiciness. There is a certain complexity, certain elegance without pushing the boundary too far in making it exactly a brainwash wine where you just need to sit and think 3 hours about what you're actually having in your glass. Philosophic wines, which I love too, but there's a purpose for everything. Do you know how much we sell that for, Csaba?
It is both of them, I think, around the £30 mark, just below £30, if I'm correct. It depends on which, if you buy it as just on the full price, or if you are a member, because there's 2 different memberships where you can buy different things, and then you get with one of them you get 15% discount, the other one you get 20% discount on each bottle. But yeah, I mean, I think top quality wines. Of what I really like in both of them actually is the balance is really good. So you get, I think you get the fruit, you definitely get the spices. You get that sort of spicy, powery element to it, but they both have very nice acidity, which balances things out quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, beautiful drive, beautiful structure. The tanning structure, again, it's there. You feel that it frames the wine, but there's no interaction. There's nowhere there's grip. There's nowhere where there is an angularity to the wine. And amazingly, from that bag to that glass and in your palate, you're like, wow, the transition, it's flawless, and what you get is really something that you're thinking, I could drink this, without thinking too much. It's just deliver so much without. It's very exactly. There's an elegance. There's definitely a lot of balance. Everything is fine line, and there's a freshness to it. That also brings the question is, again, do I need to sit on that for a few years? Can I just drink now? Can I do both? And I think the answer is the latest, where you can actually do both. Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say, in both cases, they good to drink now, but if you leave it for a little bit, that's not going to be a problem. I think they both have plenty of life left in them, but they already good.
Just we tasted the Saint Joseph, and now what is really amazing on the palate, you have a sort of violet flavors. It's really the violet flavor. The first thing that came into my mind, it was that the violet flavors. So that sort of floral touch of the Syrah comes to life after 10, 12 minutes. So really the one is evolving in the glass, and so you can imagine that over a dinner in a decanter, and seeing every stage, every time you pour a bit more in the glass, the stage at which the wine is moving to. Very, very exciting.
And when we finish the tasting, the beautiful thing about that is everything here is recyclable. So the bag inside, the plastic boxes, you can all put them into the recycling bin, and they will be gone, and they go into a good place, not landfill. And you've done a really nice tasting with just about 20-25 pounds, with 3, I think, exceptional wines for the money.
Yeah, quite esoteric. You can select, I'm sure at some stage, maybe not today, but we can select exactly what you want. So you can really pre-test before you buy. And that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. And I think given that we went through 3 wines and I tasted them, all 3 of them, and I still have plenty in my glass, I think the quantity as well as the quality is there, because you have, actually it's 300 ml altogether. So I would say
it's a bit less than a half bottle, basically. So
yes, I would say even when you are tasting, even for 2 people, is perfect, because 50 ml, a nice tasting sample. If you're doing it on your own, 100 ml is plenty. But I think it's a very good way to try out some interesting wines, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more pricier than you would otherwise buy, and it's not gonna go, into waste because you didn't drink it or didn't finish the bottle or anything. I think it's a perfect way
That's a very fair point. No, I do agree with you, Csaba, entirely. I think it's a great move forward.
Also, one of my friends who just saw this box, they really like the packaging and they really like the little bow on the bottles, and they said this would be the perfect gift for my friend. And I was like, yes, obviously, because, you know, you just ordered this. You didn't spend a whole load of money on it, because £25 for a gift is amazing. You don't just get the wine itself, or it doesn't just contain the wines. It has little tasting notes with each wine, with a QR code, which takes you to the website if you want to read more about the producers. And then all these wines will be available on YouTube as well, because Christopher and myself often do these sort of recordings and YouTube
Working
videos.
too much, exactly. You can say it.
And the videos are not just about wine. The videos are quite often things which are behind the wine itself, or things which are more, you know, what happens in the background. And
yeah, we touched the subject on cork, on screw cap, on vegetarian, vegan wines. What else did
awards,
we talk about?
wine awards and critic scores and these sort of things.
Exactly. So there is, I mean, all the kind of adjacent circular thing that are one wine, and that can be sometimes a little bit difficult to navigate upon, you know, especially when you don't know. So I mean, given the example given on this Bordeaux, you got a little sticker that tells you it's a gold or 2022 Concours Mondial des Féminalises. So basically, it's a wine that is made by a lady. And so that's the sort of angle. So what does that mean? Is it important? What does that mean that the wine is good? Whatever. I think it's a great thing that ladies are more and more recognizing the world wine, because it's been very much male dominated for forever. But does it really mean anything when it comes to the quality of the wine? Where someone say it's gold, I would agree with that. But would you? That's a different story. So yes, exactly. The sort of nomenclature, all those nowadays, the IWC, the decanters, or the Wine Society, you know, award. What does it actually stand for? Because there's so many different palettes. You know, if it's one person tasting, if it's 5 different person tasting, so yeah, all that it can be quite difficult to navigate. Obviously, we all heard, or potentially of Robert Parker back in the 90s, that really was the guru of Bordeaux, you know, demoting and promoting some estates at his own will. Hopefully this is game over, but that changed dramatically the face of Bordeaux because of one man, and that's obviously very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Exactly. But that's also in a different video topic on our YouTube channel as well. But the main thing here is that also everyone who receives the box as well, they receive a code as well, which allows you to get 25% discount on the next order if you buy any of the wines which are in the box. So you're already saving a ton of money on there, and you already tasted the wine, so you're only going to buy things which you like anyway. But Christopher, thank you very much for the tasting.
Right, thank you, Csaba. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And I hope to see you on the next one, because every month we're going to have a different box and different tasting experience, but we're going to talk about the wines and taste them all together, and hopefully it's going to be a fun little evening. If you didn't have the chance to actually watch the video or the jump on the call with us, the video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, and it will be added to the website as well. So you can just go on there and listen to what Christopher has to say about the wines. Anyway, with that said,
thank you very much, Csaba. Thank you all. See you soon on YouTube or somewhere else, and enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers.